What is going on, guys? Jack has got you back. Welcome to my second tier list on the entire channel. Thank you all so much for the support of the last one. It means so much. Thank you all for checking it out, for leaving your suggestions as well. Fantastic, 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 fantastic. So in the comments on the previous video I did of my Ultimate Spider-Man game tier list, which was like basically 40 plus years of Spider-Man games ranked. So if you haven't watched that, go and watch it because it is so good. So in the comments of my previous video I did of these, I had a comment suggesting I do a Spider-Man movie tier list, and I figured, what the hey, it should be a fun little thing to do. And of course, with Spider-Man, being 60 years old, it gives me more content to do of Spider-Man. I mean, why the hell not? This list compiles movies that Spider-Man has been in. So like his own standalone films, as well as Captain America Civil War and also the Avengers movies. I wanted to include those because I wanted to make a few points when it came to like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So of course these are my opinions. These are my opinions, my whatevers. So I would love to hear your suggestions, your tier lists, your opinions in the comment section below, as always. So without further ado, let's get started with this tier list. So as you can see, there's all my movies on the side here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have 14 Spider-Man movies, or like movies he's appeared in. I wasn't too sure about including Venom and Morbius. I wasn't too sure about including those, but these are just like the ones that Spider-Man has appeared in. So we'll go from there. So without further ado, let's kick into it. Let's go. We're in it. This is it. This is Spider-Man that came out in 1977. I have seen some episodes of this series, because this technically is a series, but like the pilot episode for this series was basically like an hour and a half long. It feels like a movie. So back in the day when superhero series and all that came out, for their pilot episode, they would make an hour and a half long instead of like an hour or half an hour. They would actually make like a movie for the pilot. So they kind of did this with the Incredible Hulk that came out in 1970 something. That was a great series as well. The first episode for the Incredible Hulk, it felt like a movie. It just kept going on and on and on and on, but nothing was really happening. They were just sort of like talking about like, oh, you're the Hulk now. Can we figure out a way to cure me? You can't, because this is the pilot episode, and you need to make a series out of it, so you're not going to be able to get cured yet. So that's what they did. So this is what they did with Spider-Man as well. They made the first episode like a movie. I haven't watched this pilot, but I have seen some clips. I've seen some scenes, some clips with the 1970 Spider-Man. It's a trip. If you haven't seen like any clips, I highly recommend that you go and watch something to do with this, because instead of like Spider-Man doing his trademark thwipping, I just need to make sure my microphone is still on. Instead of like doing the natural like thwipping hand, he would actually just hold out his hand like this, and like fucking webs would come out, even though it looks like rope. It's great. So I am going to put this in the I didn't watch category, because technically I didn't watch it, but it is there, so I might actually watch it at some point. I think the pilot is actually on YouTube, so you can actually go and watch it on YouTube. I highly recommend seeing something about it. It's amazing. I bet this didn't exist. I bet you didn't know this existed. So this is the Japanese Spider-Man that came out in 1978. So this is a complete departure from the Spider-Man that we know. As you can see, there's a giant robot behind him, and he has a car as well. As you can see, Spider-Man has like a I want to say like a morpher, because this is technically like, this is if Spider-Man and Power Rangers had a baby. This is practically it. Yeah, so again, I haven't watched this, but I have seen some clips of it. This Spider-Man, it's fucking trippy as anything. This is insane. I cannot believe that this is actually a thing. So this guy, I don't remember his name. He was bitten by a demon spider. It wasn't a radioactive spider. It was like a demon spider, I think. And of course, gave him the abilities of Spider-Man. And he is known as the emissary of evil. I'll let that sink in for a bit. He's known as the emissary of evil, and this Spider-Man uses Tommy guns. He uses guns, and there's like a sorceress, evil woman, main baddie sort of thing. She's basically like Rita Repulsa from like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. She basically tries everything in her path to conquer the world. She has all these monsters that she grows. Can you see where I'm going with this? And it's like, oh no, the monster's grown. What are we going to do? Oh, Spider-Man just calls a giant robot. And he fights this giant monster with a robot. I highly recommend you go and see some shit on it. It's mad. It's absolutely mad. So again, I'm going to put it in the didn't watch category, because I've only just seen like clips of this recently. But yeah, there we go. So I'm going to put those down there, because those are a trip. I've seen clips, haven't seen the whole thing. But yeah, I highly recommend you go see something on it. I highly recommend you see something, for sure. All right, now we come to the creme de la creme when it comes to Spider-Man. Just anything to do with Spider-Man. What was that? What was that noise? That was my phone. Yeah, here we go. Spider-Man, 2002. So, back in the 90s, there was a R-rated, like a planned R-rated film when it comes to Spider-Man. It was going to have James Cameron directing the movie. Of course, James Cameron being the director that's done Avatar, Terminator 2, and Titanic. So you can see where this is going. So James Cameron did Titanic, so he had Leonardo DiCaprio play Jack in Titanic. He was going to have Leonardo DiCaprio play Spider-Man in this 90s film. I'm pretty sure there's a universe out there, a dimension somewhere, that has made this thing, and it's either a giant flop or a giant success. It's probably, it exists somewhere in the multiverse somewhere. So yeah, it got cancelled. Of course, I don't know what the deal was. I don't think they had a script going, or like they didn't have like the budget, or they didn't have like a vision where it wanted to go. I have no idea. So instead, we got the awesome 2002 film starring Tobey Maguire as our favourite friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. Can you shut up, please, for the love of God, phone? I'm trying to make a video! Wait. There you go, put you on silent. Fuck! Yeah, so, there we go, we're back on. So yeah, this film came out in 2002. I was 7 when this came out. This movie was absolutely fantastic. Shouldn't be touched. It shouldn't be like frowned upon. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, this was a great film. Great pacing. The dialogue was great. The scenes were great. And it's just seeing Spider-Man on the big screen. This is what, we've been waiting like for years for people to see. It's great. I can't think of anything to fault with this, really. It's either because I'm biased towards this film, or it's because like Tobey Maguire is just an OP Spider-Man and just should be frowned upon. So without further ados, I'm going to put this in the only category that matters, in the S rank. S rank being spectacular. So the Spider-Man 2002 is there. Spider-Man 2 that came out in 2004. So this film was actually pretty good as well. You had so Green Goblin was the first bad guy in the first movie. William Dafoe, what a villain, right? What a villain. I mean, yeah, sure, his costume looked like a Power Rangers bad guy, but like it was brilliant, you know. It's nostalgic now, you know. It was back in the day. It was great. We were gonna get like a mechanical, like big gigantic yellow eyes, kind of looked like a humanoid like goblin sort of thing with like an orange, like a purple hood and all that. So we were gonna get that originally. But that was like a scrapped idea, so they didn't move with that. So we got like a all green Goblin. It was great. So yeah, it's 2004. Spider-Man 2. Doc Ock was the main bad guy for this one. Alfred Molina, again, just phenomenal actor. Sam Raimi. This is Sam Raimi's trilogy. So Sam Raimi being the director that's done like Evil Dead, and basically like anything to do with like demons and zombies and shit. Great. What better director to have for that? Oh yeah, he's also recently done Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't too bad. It was about a solid, 6 out of 10, but we'll get to that for another time possibly. So Spider-Man 2, this was actually pretty good as well. I don't know if because I'm like very biased towards the Raimi verse, because the Raimi trilogy just holds a special place in my heart. It's just fucking great, let's be honest. This one, the same old shtick, like, a guy that's been, there's like a guy that's been like, oh no, I've been wronged in the world, and like, oh no, I've got these superpowers, what am I going to do? I'm going to become a villain now. And you got Spider-Man doing his thing, like trying to balance between, being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Much more in this one though. And also he starts losing his powers. He has like a web block, as he likes to call it in Spider-Man No Way Home. We'll get to that eventually. But yeah, like in this one, it was okay. It was all right. It wasn't too bad. I'm actually going to put this in the A category. I'm going to put this in A. I mean, it's still a great film, but I don't know. I prefer the original. Just let me get this down. Let me do this. There we go. Boom. So I still like Spider-Man 2, but I don't know what it is. I don't really want to put it in the S category. I don't really know why. It's almost there to being like a great film. Your opinion could have changed. Like you could have put that in the S category, and I'm just like completely wrong. But we'll go from there. All right, Spider-Man 3. Spider-Man 3. It wasn't that bad, because now I sort of like watched this recently. I watched this back recently, and it's not that bad. It got a lot of stick before because it was all over the place and it didn't really know what it wanted to be. There was creative differences with the studio and Sam Raimi. But in this film, you have three villains. You have Harry Osborn as the new Goblin, they like to call it. You've got Sandman, and you've also got Venom. Hence the reason why there's the black suited Spider-Man in the movie poster. So, I think this was originally supposed to be, I don't know, like 2 parts. I think they were actually originally supposed to have like part 1 and part 2. Kind of like what they did with Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows, like the last book. The last book, they, separate that into 2 films because there was just way too much story to go through. I think that's what the original idea was for Spider-Man 3. I think they should have done that. I think they should have actually split this into 2 parts. Because it's a bit busy. Because of course you got 3 villains, so you need to have their backstory, you need to have their origins of becoming supervillains, and then you need to have like their integration into the movie, and then you need to have like Spider-Man fight these villains and then resolve with these villains. You know, it's a little bit busy. It's a little bit busy for what it is. It's still not that bad. This came out in 2007, so this is like 15 years old. That's just mad. That's just mind-boggling. That's, you know, this is like 15 years old. Spider-Man 1 is like 20 years old. Ooh, Jesus. Yeah, so I think when it comes to this film, if they just stuck with Harry Osborn as a new Goblin and Sandman, if they just stuck with those for this movie, that would have been brilliant. This would have been an amazing film if they just stuck with those 2 villains. Because I think Sam Raimi originally wanted Sandman to be the main villain. He wanted Sandman to be the main villain. You could clearly see that in the film. You could clearly see that the focus was primarily on Sandman's, like Flint Marko Sandman. You can see that because, you know, if you haven't seen these films as well, like spoilers, there's going to be like spoilers everywhere. So I highly recommend you go watch these films first before diving into this video, because I will be explaining some things here and there that's spoiler worthy. So, of course, in this film, Sandman is like Uncle Ben's like actual killer. So in Spider-Man 1, we're expected it to be like this guy with like the blonde like Q-tips on his head. We're expected him, like that mugger, to be Uncle Ben's killer. Turns out it's not. It's Sandman in this movie. He mistakenly kills Uncle Ben because he had the gun in his hand. Uncle Ben was trying to, you know, calm Flint Marko down. You know, put the gun down, you know, go home, do whatever, just don't do this. And then Flint sees his partner, which is the guy with the Q-tips on his head. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to slightly squeeze the trigger because I'm not paying attention. And boom, like Uncle Ben is dead. So yeah, Uncle Ben was like mistakenly killed. Yeah, so you could definitely tell that you know, Sam Raimi really wanted Sandman to be the main villain and like be the main antagonist, resolve things with Sandman, and it kind of got resolved at the end, you know, because Peter Parker forgave Flint Marko because, you know, Flint Marko told him the truth with what happened to Uncle Ben. So then Flint just like goes, you know, into the distance, you know, he becomes like a sand storm cloud thing, and he just like quietly goes off into the distance. It's all good. He's done. Yeah, then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, halfway through the film? I'm gonna say it's like halfway through the film. You know, Peter has like a bad dream. He's starting to like have a dream about Flint Marko and like Uncle Ben's, you know, murder and all that again. And whilst all this is happening, the symbiote comes and like latches onto like Peter and creates the black suit. So the black suit is actually not that bad in this movie. I actually don't mind like the webbed look for the black suit. Kind of makes like you know, it makes like the red and black suit completely all black, and it changes like the symbol on the front and on the back as well. It changes it to look more evil and like more gritty, edgier. And I think it made his eyes a bit bigger as well, if I'm not mistaken, because there's one shot where his eyes were kind of like the same, like, you know, the same angular slit thing, but it kind of made it look a bit more chunkier in that sense. Yeah, so you could tell like Sam Raimi was trying his best to incorporate Venom because the studio wanted Venom. They thought it was like time to introduce Venom into the story as being like one of Spider-Man's like biggest fucking villains like ever. So the studio, Sony wanted the black suit Venom somewhere. You could tell Sam Raimi was really trying with this one. You could tell he was really, really trying with this one. And yeah, it just fueled like Peter's anger for Sandman even more. And yeah, then like you know, Eddie Brock in this as well, pretty good as well. He wasn't too bad. He just basically had what he needed to get the script, you know, in the right direction. Topher Grace tried his best to be Venom / Eddie Brock. He tried. Yeah, and then you had like the anti. Yeah, you had the climactic sort of like battle with in a construction site with Peter and Harry, because Harry was like sort of redeems himself and helps Peter out at the end. And you had those two versus Sandman and Venom at the end. And I was like 12 years old when this came out. I think I was 12, 2007. Yes, I was 12 years old when this came out. So when Harry Osborn died, I couldn't handle it. I fucking cried. I couldn't handle it because, you know, Harry Osborn's my boy, and you know, having like another Goblin like in the series, and I was like, oh yeah, there's another Goblin, like sweet. Then Venom comes out of nowhere, like, you know, with Harry's, you know, hoverboard glider thing, and just stabs him in the fucking back and kills Harry. I'm like, no. I'm like, shit, this is not great. This is not great. Why would they do this? So yeah, they killed Harry at the end, and I cried. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? And yeah, I didn't mind it at all. And yeah, I'm going to put this, I don't know, in the B category. I think I might put this in the B category because you could tell like Sam Raimi really, really tried when it comes to like incorporating Venom. You could tell like he tried. Come on, keep going. There we go. Yeah, you could tell that Sam Raimi really, really tried with it. But overall, it is a mess. Overall, it is a mess. But you could tell he tried. And when it comes to Spider-Man 4, which we were supposed to get in 2012, I think. So, you know, 4 years on from Spider-Man 3. I think there was like creative differences. Sam Raimi wanted full control. He couldn't get it. Adios. I'm done with the series, you know. So we never got Spider-Man 4. And then I think it was supposed to have like Lizard as the main bad guy. You'll see in a minute. Yes, Lizard was supposed to be like the main bad guy. I think Mysterio was supposed to be in it at some point, and Bruce Campbell was supposed to be Mysterio, because Bruce Campbell was in like all 3 Spider-Man movies. Was he Spider-Man 2? I think he was. Yes, he was. So in Spider-Man 1, he was like Bruce Campbell was the wrestling announcer. Spider-Man 2, he was the opera door dude that doesn't let Peter in, and in Spider-Man 3, he was the French waiter that was in on the whole proposal to MJ sort of thing. So I think at some point, like, it was supposed to be like revealed that was like Quentin Beck as like an actor, like he just plays all these different parts, and he was going to be Mysterio. Yeah, so I think the main antagonist was supposed to be Lizard or Vulture, something like that. That would have been a great film. I think somewhere out there we have Spider-Man 4. It would have been great. All right, that's the Raimi trilogy. That was the Raimi stuff. Brilliant. Chef's kiss, all good. So now we come to the Amazing Spider-Man. Came out in 2012, 10 years ago. Andrew Garfield now holds the reign as Spider-Man, and this film actually not that bad. I actually don't mind it. There are some things I'm like, okay, this isn't, you know, not bad, but like, you know, you need to pump the brakes on certain things. Like Peter Parker in this, yeah, he's kind of like a geeky sort of dude, but he looks too cool. You know, he looks too cool. He rides a skateboard, for crying out loud. You know, he's too cool. You know, too cool. I dig the suit though, like the whole suit, kind of making it look like a grittier, very very homemadey kind of suit. You know, like the red kind of looks like a basketball. You know, it looks like a basketball, and like it's spandex. You know, it's and like he has actual like web shooters. He has like mechanical web shooters. Whereas like the Raimi stuff, he has like the organic web fluid that just comes out of his wrist. In this one, he actually has the web shooters. I mean, I didn't mind this film at all. I thought it was pretty good. You had the Lizard as the main antagonist in this one. I thought he was okay. He was very, very human. I kind of would have liked to have seen Lizard as more of as more looking like a lizard, you know? I would have kind of preferred that, definitely. So bam, I'm going to put The Amazing Spider-Man in the A category, because I didn't mind it, and I think it's actually pretty good. Right, when it comes to this one, whoop, come on dude, there we go. When it comes to this one, this is abysmal. This film is like an abomination. I've only seen it the once. I cannot bring myself to watch this again. The only thing that has going for this, well, two things that has going for this. The suit is fucking dope. This is like the most accurate suit we could possibly get, you know, like the big eyes, you know, very comic book accurate. Again, with the web shooters as well, the mechanical web shooters. A great suit. And then you also had Electro. You had you had Jamie Foxx as Electro. Those are the only two things that this film has going for it. That's it. The fact is that you've got Rhino in this, you know, mechanical Rhino, sweet. You're going for like the ultimate Spider-Man approach when it comes to Rhino. Okay, great. He's at the end. Well, he's like at the beginning for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, but like not actual like Rhino yet. He's just like a dude driving a truck. That's it. And then at the end, you got like, you know, Rhino in like the mechanical Rhino suit, you know, calling out Spider-Man, you know, creating all this mischief and all that, creating destruction. Great. So it's like, oh, sweet, this film is going to redeem itself with like a gigantic battle against Rhino, and it's going to be sick. Oh, Spider-Man comes in, he webs like a fire. What's it called? Like the manhole covers. He webs up like a manhole cover, and he spins it around. It's in super slow motion. It looks badass, and then all of a sudden cuts to black with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 title credits. Why? Why is that a thing? Why? My God! And don't even talk to me about Green Goblin in this. Don't even talk. Don't even say anything about the Green Goblin in this. The Green Goblin in this is probably the worst ever design I've ever seen for the character. It doesn't look great at all, and very misused. God knows what the creative, whatever the hell I say, creative approach was to this film. I don't know. It was a mess. I mean, my God. The only things that it's got going for it is the fact is that the suit looks badass, and you know, you've got Jamie Foxx as Electro. That's the only things that this movie's got going for it. And yeah, the what you call it, the music is pretty good as well. But other than that, you got to go in the C category. You know, you got to go in the lowest category I could possibly give you, dude. I'm so sorry. But that's very, very unfortunate when it comes for Andrew Garfield, because I would have loved to have seen The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Maybe they might have redeemed themselves with The Amazing Spider-Man 3. Who knows? But you know, it bombed, so you could see why they didn't make a third film. It's a disappointing shame for Andrew Garfield, because I thought he was great as Spider-Man. You know, I thought he was absolutely fantastic as Spider-Man. Right, so now we get to like the MCU stuff. Right, Civil War. So I'm including like I mean, I'm including Avengers Endgame, Infinity War, and Captain America Civil War. I'm including these because I kind of want to like make a point when it comes to this. When it comes to this Spider-Man. So this Spider-Man is now Tom Holland. Tom Holland is now taking the reins as Spider-Man. He might still be Spider-Man. We'll see when it comes. Like, we'll see what his future is with Spider-Man 4. If that ever comes out, we'll see if that ever happens, because I don't know what it is with Spider-Man sequels, like, you know, the number 4. I don't know what it is, but like, hopefully we'll actually get Spider-Man 4 in the future. I would love to see that, especially with like how Spider-Man is now going to be handled. Again, we'll get to that. So yeah, the MCU Spider-Man was first debuted in Captain America Civil War. Wow, 2016. Jesus, I thought it was only like last week. Yeah, so he was introduced into Captain America Civil War. Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, goes to Queens, and he goes and recruits Spider-Man. So at this point, Spider-Man has been doing his thing for about 8 months. I think it was about 8 months, he said. And, you know, like a homemade suit with like giant ass goggles and like, you know, sweatpants and a hoodie and all that. Kind of looks like the Scarlet Spider in a way. And, yeah, Iron Man goes and recruits him, says he's got a job for him. And then the next scene we see is like the big airport battle with Spider-Man in it. And Iron Man gives him a suit. He gives him like a technically advanced, I say traditional suit, where like the eyes move like lenses. It's a pretty dope suit and all that. It was pretty cool. But yeah, so then it has like the whole giant fight in the airport scene. That scene with like Spider-Man, brilliant, fantastic. That was great. But yeah, as a movie as a whole, I thought it was pretty good. So I'm going to put this in the A category. So yeah, Spider-Man gets recruited by Iron Man and becomes like an Avenger. Excuse me. Yeah, he becomes like an Avenger for a bit. Well, does he become like an Avenger for a bit? Well, he's more like on the Iron Man side of the Avengers. So, you know, he does this thing with the guys on Iron Man's side at the airport, and then Iron Man tells him to go back home. Yeah, overall the film I thought was pretty good as well. I liked the whole fight scene with like Captain America against Iron Man. That was very emotional. Considering we've been with these characters since like 2008, so at this point you've been with the characters for like 8 years or so, and they have like this big emotional like battle at the end of the movie. Pretty heavy stuff. Yeah, so that goes there. Right. Avengers Infinity War. As you can see, Spider-Man is there. There he is. He's in the middle of the poster, along with everybody else. Yeah, so in this one, I thought it was okay. You had like the big baddie, you know, Josh Brolin, Thanos, going and getting the Infinity Stones. He wins, all right? So this is great that the bad guy actually wins for a change. Nice change of pace. He wins in the fact is that he wants to like half the population of the universe and try and, you know, make the universe like a better place. So in doing so, as he wins, he snaps his fingers and he snaps, I want to say like a good chunk of the Avengers, or like the good chunk of the people on this poster. One of those people being Spider-Man. He snaps Peter Parker out of existence. I think it's because of that whole Sony Marvel deal they had going on. Like Spider-Man was only going to appear in a certain amount of films and, you know, be done with it. So they wanted to like, I don't know, essentially like kill off Spider-Man, I think. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, so they killed off Spider-Man by snapping him out of existence. And yeah, I thought it was a good film. It was okay. And it sort of like accumulated like all these years of like build up with the MCU to have like a big giant baddie scenario where the bad guy wins. Brilliant. So this film, Avengers Endgame, I thought it was okay as well. This was good. It concluded everything that the MCU's been building up until this point. And then the Avengers start winning. They start like going back in time. I've only seen this movie the once. They sort of like go back in time, and they go back in time to grab the Infinity Stones again, so that Thanos doesn't get his hands on them. So the Avengers then create like a gauntlet, like an Infinity Gauntlet, to hold the stones in, and then snap everybody back into existence. And then, of course, being so, Spider-Man comes back at the end of the film, and does his whole thing at the end of the film, and the Avengers win. Great. This film, I think it was like 3 hours long. It was a long film. Thank God for intermissions at the cinema. My God. Thank God for the intermissions. Because I don't think I would have been able to hold it in for that film. I would have had to pick my moments carefully to go to the bathroom for that film, because that was way too long, that film. But it was good though. It was pretty good. Right, what do we have next? This one. Right. So when it comes to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, does anyone get the feeling, right? I might be the only one in this boat. Again, sound off in the comments below. I might be the only one that might have this opinion. Does anyone else think that this Spider-Man, the MCU Spider-Man, up until this point, like I'll include Far From Home and Homecoming, and also the Avengers films, does anyone else think that Spider-Man is a sidekick? Does anybody else think that? Because, yeah, great, we got Spider-Man standalone films with the MCU. Great. Does anyone else think he's a sidekick? You know? Because you got Iron Man in this, as you can clearly see from the poster. You've also got Vulture as the main baddie and all that. I don't know. I mean, I want to love like this Spider-Man. I want to love the MCU Spider-Man, because this is supposed to be like a very, very comic book accurate sort of interpretation of the character. But does anyone else think like he is a sidekick? Like, you got Iron Man giving, Peter his, technically advanced super suit, that has like all these different functions and all that. It has like an insta-kill mode as well. And then, Peter Parker getting like, too big for his boots, because, he has this like great suit, and he thinks he can do like pretty much anything. And then you have like Iron Man coming in at, some point in the film saying like, if you're not, if you think you're, nobody with this suit, you shouldn't have it at all. And, he takes the suit back. And, like, the final third of the film, you got, Peter Parker in his, like, homemade suit again, like I'm going to call it, like, the Scarlet Spider suit, because it has, like, the hoodie, the big-ass goggles, It has, like, he goes back in his homemade suit for, like, the final third of the film. And, to fight Vulture and all that. So that was pretty good, the final third. But I don't know, because I've only seen this film like a couple of times, but I just get the feeling like this Spider-Man is a sidekick. Is a sidekick, and he's not his own standalone thing. He thinks he's going to get like help from the Avengers, I really don't know. I always think he's always wanting like help from the Avengers, and he starts to think for himself like in the film, but like it's just, I don't know what else to say about it. Like I think he's a sidekick. I keep thinking like he's a sidekick. Like he's not his own character. He's not his own character. So I'm gonna put it in the B category, because again, I've only seen it like a couple of times. It's not like a film I watch religiously like this one. But yeah, I mean it's there. It's whatever. We're actually coming up to like the final couple of movies. All right. Spider-Man Far From Home. I've only seen this once. I've only seen this film once. Not bad. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I really liked Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. He was very, 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 very good as the bad guy for this film. Very good. I digged the suit as well. I dig the black and red suit with like the white spider in the back. I dig that suit. That suit's pretty cool. I think they called it the upgraded suit. And then at some point he had like the all black Night Monkey suit as well. I mean, it had its purpose for that part of the film. All good. It's all right. I don't know. I feel like, well, in this film, I feel like Spider-Man is starting to come into his own. He's starting to sort of like venture out of like Avenger territory and starting to feel like his own hero. So I thought he was okay in it. He was starting to like become his own thing. Yeah, sure, he had, help from, Nick Fury and also Happy in it as well. He had somewhat help, but like in this one, he started to actually become his own sort of hero. So I'm going to put in the A category because he was starting to actually become his own Spider-Man, not like thinking like, oh, I need help. Where are the Avengers? So yeah, I'm going to put it in the A category. Again, I've only seen it the once, but like I thought it was actually pretty okay. And I dig the suit, I dig the whole setting, and I dig Mysterio in this film. Again, I dig it. Right, this film's pretty good. This film is pretty good. Again, if you have nostalgia for these characters, you're gonna like love this thing. You're gonna think this is the only film that ever exists, So at the end of Far From Home, Mysterio, before he dies, releases a video announcing that, Spider-Man is Peter Parker, like, to everybody. So it's like, oh shit, where the hell are they going to go with this in this story? What's going to happen? Because everybody now knows that, Peter is Spider-Man. And when it comes to, like, people in the MCU anyway, a lot of people know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. You got Aunt May, you got, like, all the Avengers, you got Mary Jane, you got Ned, you got, like, a lot of people that know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So, why not just tell everybody? Why don't you just tell everybody that, Peter Parker is Spider-Man? Just tell everybody. It's fine. God. But, yeah, so then, Peter goes to Doctor Strange to try and, fix things, try and get people to forget that he is Spider-Man. And Peter tampers with the spell a lot, saying like, this person shouldn't know, but this person actually should know, but this person shouldn't know, but then they should know, So he starts tampering with the spell, and he sort of fuses like all these different universes together into one universe. So you've actually got the Raimi verse, and you've also got the Andrew Garfield verse, like fusing into one. So you've got William Dafoe's Green Goblin coming back, and I've only just recently found out that he actually does all of his own stunts in this film as well. He does everything, because that was the one condition he had for coming back to Green Goblin. He wanted to do like all of his own stunts. The man was like in his 60s, and he wanted to do his own stunts. So, props to him for actually, coming back and doing his own shit. Brilliant. Yeah, I want to say he was the main antagonist. I want to say Green Goblin was the main bad guy. I think he was. Now I'm thinking about it. Because they sort of like went for the whole Sinister Six approach at the end. But I think the main antagonist, was Green Goblin. Because if it wasn't for Green Goblin, all these villains that come into Tom Holland's universe would have been like, okay, cool, we'll get cured, and then we'll go back to our own universes. Great, fantastic. But then Green Goblin's like, oh no, you're gonna all be villains, and I'm gonna be the ringleader, and we're all gonna take out Spider-Man and all that. Brilliant. Yeah, you also got Alfred Molina coming back as Dr. Octopus. Fucking great. He was really, really good. He was very good in the film as well. You had Jamie Foxx coming back as Electro. Again, the only thing that came out of, like, the only good villain that came out of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He's back in it. And it was more classic comic book accurate than Ultimate accurate. So he was more yellow electricity more than blue electricity. You also had the Lizard. The Lizard was back from the Amazing Universe as well. You also had Sandman as well. He came back from the Raimi-verse. Anybody else that I'm missing? I don't think so. I don't think I'm missing anybody else. No, I don't think so. So yeah, you had all these villains coming back, so it's only fitting that you get 2 Spider-Men coming back. It's only fitting that you get 2 Spider-Men coming back. So you get fucking Tobey Maguire coming back as Spider-Man, and you get Andrew Garfield coming back as Spider-Man. And you get Andrew Garfield, getting the respect he deserves and coming back to a project that is, like, fucking amazing. No pun intended at all. So, this movie is great. I almost said it again. This movie is great. A solid 11 out of 10. Would watch again, religiously. And it was great. The final moments of the movie as well, like, Aunt May dying in this by Green Goblin, and, like, Tom Holland's becoming really, like, revengeful and, like, wanting revenge towards Green Goblin for killing Aunt May. And in this one, Aunt May says, with great power comes great responsibility, instead of Uncle Ben. So I'm actually not even too sure if Uncle Ben actually existed in Tom Holland's universe, because we had no mention with Uncle Ben at all. And in this case, Aunt May says, with great power comes great responsibility. She says the line. And, the other 2 Spider-Men come in. They come and give, Tom Holland a hand, basically showing him the ways of becoming his own Spider-Man. Thank God this worked. Thank God this worked and actually works, So it's great because, the other 2 Peters give, Tom Holland, the respect, the comfort that he deserves, and basically tells Tom Holland, be your own hero, be your own Spider-Man. You don't need to be a sidekick. You don't need to be part of a team. You can do your own shit. Brilliant. That's how it should have been from the get-go when it comes to Spider-Man. And then maybe when Spider-Man does his own standalone trilogy, introduce him into the Avengers, Introduce him into the whole team so that, he basically has to then learn to, be part of a team, Brilliant. And then, like, the final moments of No Way Home, the spell, in order for the spell to work, people need to actually forget who Spider-Man is. So what Tom Holland does is that he tells Doctor Strange to put into the spell, forget everybody knew Peter Parker. So, he's gonna basically cast the spell that everybody will forget who Peter Parker is. So then, like, nobody knows who Peter Parker is. And then the movie ends with, like, Tom Holland going to see, MJ. I'm saying Tom Holland because I don't want to, confuse you with, like, the other, other Peters. Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3. I didn't want to confuse you. So Tom Holland goes to see, MJ at the coffee shop, getting ready to basically explain who he is to her and all that. And then he doesn't. He sort of, like, backs out because, he sees that, MJ and Ned like having, like, a great, life and all that. So, Tom does his own thing. And then, thank God, at the end of the film, he creates, like, a traditional looking suit. So, you know, we've got like the integrated suit, we've got the Iron Spider suit, we've got an upgraded suit, we got a technically advanced suit, the black and gold suit, which is the upgraded suit, you know, turned inside out. Thank God, at the end of the film for this, he makes himself a traditional suit. You know, using, you know, like the what do you call it? The sewing machine, and just basically creates like a very comic book accurate suit. So he has like the small like squinty eyes as well. It's very red, and the blue is like very light blue as well. The spider logo in the middle is sort of like taking inspiration from the Raimi suit, and then the back spider is taking inspiration from like the Andrew Garfield suit. So, you know, he's sort of like taking inspiration from the other Spider-Men that helped him out in that last mission. Great. And then the movie ends with, you know, like the final swing and, you know, cut to black. In the Hawkeye series, I kind of wanted to see like a cameo from that Spider-Man, because, you know, it's the same sort of setting. It's like Christmas time, and, you know, Spider-Man is actually swinging through... Is it called Rockefeller Center? The one with like the big ass tree and like the ice rink. He's sort of swinging through that, and at the end of like the Hawkeye series, like there's like a big battle like in that same location. So I kind of would have digged to have seen that. I kind of would have digged that. So yeah, I'm going to put... Sorry for the ramble. I'm going to put Spider-Man No Way Home in the S category, and that's where it should live. Alright, this film, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, this is the last film that we have to go through. This is the last one. So this film is pretty fucking great. This film is pretty great. Yeah, sure, it's an animated film. Who cares? The animation is top-notch. The characters are amazing. The story is great. Miles Morales being like the main Spider-Man in this story, great. And then like sort of learning his powers from... Is this Peter B. Parker? I think this is Peter B. Parker. I forget which one it is, because one of the Spider-Men dies. The Peter Parker Spider-Man that's in Miles' universe dies. And... I'm trying to remember, because I've only seen this like a couple of times. The universes come clashing into each other. You can see where this is going. The universes come clashing into each other, and you got like all these different Spider people, because you got Spider-Ham, Spider-Gwen. I forgot the name of this one, and you got Spider-Man Noir, played by Nicolas Cage. So good. Yeah, this Spider-Man comes into Miles' universe. They all actually come into Miles' universe, but he comes into Miles' universe and actually tries to train Miles to becoming Spider-Man. And this suit is actually pretty dope as well. So you got like Miles' traditional like black and red suit, but you've also got like a hoodie, and you got sneakers, and you got shorts. It's great. It's a pretty like well-constructed movie. This is. I liked it, and I actually am looking forward to the next one that's coming out next year. I think it's coming out next year. You got Spider-Man 2099 in it, played by Oscar Isaac as well. So you got like Moon Knight, Poe Dameron in it as well. So I'm very much looking forward to Into the Spider-Verse. I think Venom is in it. I saw that what's his name? Is his name The Spot? I think his name is The Spot. I saw that. I think his name is The Spot. It's like the guy that has like the black spots on his body. So if you punch through a black spot, you know, as black spot comes out somewhere else, and it's like you're punching yourself. It's great. It's a great villain. Thank God he's actually getting some actual screen time. It's great. Yeah, he's one of the villains. I don't know if Venom is one of the villains. I'm not too sure. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Into the Spider-Verse 2. It's going to be dope. But, yeah, that is my full list of 14 Spider-Man movies that have come out. Let me just see how much I've been recording. I've been recording for almost an hour. Holy shit! I'm so sorry that this video dragged out. I'm so sorry, but I felt like I had to get some sort of points across when it came to Tom Holland's Spider-Man, because I didn't know if I was in the minority when it came to Tom Holland's Spider-Man feeling like a sidekick at the beginning, but then like as soon as like Far From Home came out, in No Way Home came out, he actually started to become his own Spider-Man when, you know, all of that was kicking off. So I felt like Tom Holland was becoming his own Spider-Man, which was great. Hopefully in Spider-Man 4, if we ever get Spider-Man 4, it's just literally Spider-Man, antagonist, story, no sign of the Avengers, no sign of any other person in the film other than Spider-Man, Spider-Man bad guy, Spider-Man characters. That's it. That's all I want to see from the next Spider-Man film. If they're going to bring Venom into it, fantastic. If they're going to bring Scorpion into it, much better. Please bring Scorpion into this at some point. I'm dying to see Scorpion in live action. Like, give us, I don't know, like a blue and green costume, or like a green costume, like Scorpion, anything like that, please. Marvel, Sony, anybody, please. But yeah, that's my full list of Spider-Man movies. Thank you all so much for stopping by if you have. If you're here for the entire duration of this thing, thank you so much. Like I said, I'm so sorry I rambled on for quite a bit. I felt like I had to get some points out. And of course, I had my own opinions. So I would love to hear your opinions down below. As always, I'd love to hear them. And yeah, do you agree with my list? Do you disagree with my list? Do you disagree with my opinion on Tom Holland's Spider-Man? Let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for stopping by. If you liked what you've seen, go ahead, subscribe. Also, ring that bell to stay notified when I go live or when I do post. And yeah, join me for a live stream on Klonoa 2 next time. And as always, I'll see you guys in my next video, my next stream. Adios. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out. Goodbye. Have a good one.